Oui. Ah. Bonsoir tout le monde.
Good evening, everyone.
Un plaisir de vous accueillir ce soir.
It's a pleasure to welcome you this evening to our April 15th meeting 2020. As usual, like simultaneous translation is available for the members and all individuals in the room. So you can just...
For council members as well as for members of the public if you're picking up a set of earphones. Donc,
So, I would like to mention that we are gathering on the unceded traditional territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Number 2, quorum. We do have quorum this evening. Everybody's here. And we have some members online, such as Councillor Cormier. So it's good. Declaration of conflict of interest. Any council members who would like to declare a conflict of interest on the items of this evening's agenda? Nothing super touchy. So adoption of the agenda. You have in front of you the agenda. I just need a motion to adopt it. Moved by Deputy Mayor Sylvie Colette Boudreau, seconded by Councillor Paul Boudreau. The Boudreau team. All in favor, saying aye. Against name, motion carried. Adoption of the minutes of our meeting April 2nd, 2024. You should, if you had the chance to take a look at it and read it, to remember to some memories of 2 weeks ago. So we need someone to move the adoption of the minutes, moved by Patricia Boutchevary, seconded by Councillor Emile O'Brien. I saw him first. Questions, errors, correction, omissions. If not, all in favor saying aye. Against nay, motion carried. We have 2 presentations this evening. The first one, Plan 360. They will talk about the phases of the development of the municipal plan roadmap, essentially how this review will be done. I think Mr. Robichaud had a presentation. You should have received it, and then we'll be able to just put it on the screen. Mr. Robichaud. Good evening, Mayor and Council members. So this evening I have a presentation for essentially to discuss the municipal plan and the steps, and a little bit we'll discuss the process briefly. We'll go back and just to what is a municipal plan? Essentially, it's a regulation that was adopted under the Planning Act, and its principal goals and proposals. Essentially, these are more like a principle, describing the vision of the development for the town of Shediac, how the town of Shediac should develop. And we have different themes like residential, commercial, industrial, transportation, etc. And then the document is called the bylaw, so the hierarchy, municipal plan first, and then we have the bylaw. And the bylaw, essentially, it's how they would implement the municipal plan. So it's more specific, it's really black on white, and it divides the municipality in different zones, and it tells us what is allowed where. And there is also general provision, such as the building height, the type of material used, and the setbacks. So that's what we'll be discussing, the municipal plan and the zoning bylaw. A little bit of context. There are two rural plan for the western part and the municipal plan for the former town of Shediac. And the 2 of them were adopted in 2016. And as of today, the plan met their development requirement. Shediac would notice in 20 to something since 2020, it changed quite quickly. So essentially that plan is modified every 10 years, so 2026. But things change significantly, we have a demographic growth in the region, and also like the increase of the building materials. So the type of construction change like in the region. So there's a trend for more like apartment buildings and less single family dwellings. And there are other major factors that change the town of Shediac. Major investment also in infrastructure, such as Beaubridge Street. And so this is today's context, and the things are very different than what they were in 2016. I just want to mention also what is the goal of the two plans. So Shediac was, the first plan was adopted in 2016, and Beaubassin West represent the rest. So the town of Shediac is red, Beaubassin West, Scodoc, Shediac, Cape, Pointe-du-Chêne. And also like the local service district that were amalgamated with Shediac, like during the municipal reform. So the goal is to blend the two of them together and have one plan that represents the whole region. And I just want to summarize also like the demographics, right? So Greater Moncton is known as the area with the greatest growth, and the Shediac had the growth, and Shediac increased like the 11% population growth from 2016 to 2021. So that what we are noticing, this is a more older population, and half of this population is have about close to half of the population is age 65 years or older. And with the trend we're seeing, like it's more apartments with 1 or 2 bedrooms in the region. And Shediac also saw an increase in their building permits prior to pandemic, like the permits were like 10 million, 25 million, but it was, and after 2020, it accelerated. Last year it was like 106 million worth for building permits. So over the last few years, it's accelerating really fast. So Shediac did a study on housing. Here is just to see like some numbers and the type of units to meet the housing request in the 2022-2023. So in this scenario, extreme scenario, we would need like over 2,000 units like by 2033, and most of those units would be for 1 or 2 bedrooms, but most of them would be 1 or 2 bedrooms. So it just represents like the permits that were given like by dwelling type. At the beginning, we saw it was mostly like a single dwelling. It's in blue, but now we have in the yellow multi-dwelling unit. So we see the change at the beginning. Like we see like 75 units per year, like, and over the last year, 355 units like that was given for 2021, 2022, and 2023. So this represents the process. So the first step is really like to do the preliminary study. So the intent was to understand the context of Shediac. And before preparing a plan, we have to understand what's happening, what are the trends, so we can identify the need. The second step, we can the infrastructures, assess the current capacity of the existing infrastructure in Shediac, and also like forecast future development. Once those 2 steps are done, the third step, number 3, would be consultation. And the consultation, it's not only with the public, it's part of it, but also like the stakeholders and government entities. So we have to consult with them too. And once we did those 3 steps, at this time we can draft a plan. And once the plan is completed, it's a legal process, which is the last step. So to go more to details in the steps, So when we're talking about the context, like it represents also like the housing need assessment. So the goal is to determine like how many units Shediac has to build to meet like the demands of the population growth. And second step, this is a background study, so it's to understand like what are the different markets in Shediac. Like do people do they work like in Shediac, or do they commute, and are some industry more prevalent than others? Is it more focused like on tourism, or just to give services to the citizen, or is it a mix of the two? So that's why those studies are very important. So to prepare a good plan that will meet the need of the municipality. And another thing we do, like we evaluate the former plan's performance. We see like if there were a lot of variances in the previous plan, if maybe, and if we see also some spots like where there were frequent rezonings, so maybe that should be a different zoning. And we can also see like if the plan was captured, like if we had the conflicts arising from the plan. So that would be done in step 1. The fourth one would be environmental zone and climate change zone. It's really like to identify environmental sensitive areas and flood prone areas, so we can adapt, like let's say we have wetlands or flood zone. So for the Shediac context, like it's really like important like to proceed. Second step is really specific like to infrastructures. So the first thing like we recommend to do is to map like constraint mapping and sanitary sewer. The goal is really like to target like the spots where the infrastructure can accommodate projects, and also like to see like the future infrastructure projects. If something else is built in town, just to make sure like the zoning works with it, or take advantage of those infrastructures. And also to understand like the road networks in the future, and which street can accommodate some traffic, and where the future streets will be located. So it's and also just to understand like where you would have some areas who would have challenges with water and drainage, to see future institutional development and the future, like the school that was proposed in Shediac, to know like in the municipal plan, like we want a certain type of development around the school. So the goal is really like is direct the development where the infrastructure is capable of. And the third step, once those two things, is to start the consultation. We'll start like with the staff of the town of Shediac. So recreation, trails, economic development, engineering, etc. These are important components in the plan development. And then consult with stakeholders, like we had some here, like the downtown Shediac Watershed Group. I just mentioned 2, but there are others. And also with provincial governments, such as the Department of Environment, agriculture. Like in Skodok, there's a lot of farms, so we need like one, and we know like we forget sometimes that Shediac is bigger. So Department of Transportation and Infrastructure, so they're still maintaining roads. These are only examples of the government department that would be consulted. And finally, public consultation. We usually like the process, we do like some online service, open houses, where people are invited, and we can explain also what the project is. And we have a website specific for the municipal plan to consult the initiatives we're trying to put in place. So this concludes the consultation. And the fourth step, once we get all those information, we compile like all these information, and then we start drafting the plan. So what the Shediac needed. So we're starting to do like a zoning map, a future zoning map, also like the land use map, and then we go in details. And the goal is really like to meet the needs of Shediac once all the consultation and the studies are done. And at the same time, we're writing. So we go to the council and present a progress. There will be a steering committee. So when we can give some feedback and just ask also to know the progress of the plan. And the last one is, once we did all of this, there will be a final version, and it will go also for the legal process. It's identical to a rezoning that you are familiar with. So we get seek the views of the PRAC, will have public presentation, public hearing, and the council will proceed to the reading and at the legal adoption. And at the end, the plan will have to be approved by the minister. And if the province, if they have a statement of public interest, essentially these are politics at the provincial level for minimum standards for the municipalities they have to follow. And the role means those principles are followed. So this summarized my presentation. So the 5 steps. So it's really important to get the foundation, step 1 and 2, before we proceed to the next step. So just to make sure we're consulting the people, and when we get to the consultation and preparation of the plan. So it's important to do those steps before we go to the next one. So this concludes my presentation. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Robichaud. A couple of questions for me, and I'll list the other one. In terms of so where we're at today, we're really at step 1. We're really at the beginning. So there are still some studies to do, and for recreation, transportation, infrastructures. So these are initiatives done with the town, with the expertise from engineer firm that are working in that field. I think we started some of them, but it's only the beginning. In terms of public consultation, so we see online surveys, and so in my vision, is to bring the discussion with all the population. So it's not only a couple of meetings, the multi-purpose meeting room. We can do some meetings in the former LSDs, or let's say the Scudo Golden Age Club, the Lady Smith Hall in Shediac Cape, the community center at Pointe du Chien. So these are things, at least it's something to make the access easier, because surveys, as long as it doesn't take 3/4 of an hour to answer a phone survey. So that's what we're hoping to do, so to make the consultation easier. You were mentioning a steering committee. Yes, the steering committee, So are there some kind a rule of thumb with this one? It's more like a suggestion that will be up to the council to decide, to make some recommendations, and usually we're trying different interests development, recreation, community development, to get several perspectives, and when we are preparing the plan. So it gives me a better idea. So it's later in the process. Thank you for the presentation. I don't know if the council members would have any question. Councillor Paul Boudreau. Great presentation, Phil. Thank you very much. So for the step, do you have any dates or deadline? So when should we expect? Is it 1 year, 3 years, 5 years? So before we proceed to the next step. So It's like a process. I do not want to give a specific date, but it's depending how fast we can finalize those study. As I mentioned, it's modified every 10 years, and so in 2026, it's more or less done by this process. So because we get very recent reports like for the climate change adaptation, pollution was happening, so it shouldn't drag too much so that the report become obsolete. So it has to be fresh and in mind, and then it be included in the plan. Thank you. I think it's all for infrastructure. I think it was addressed. If the mayors would like to ask a couple of questions, or I think we were thinking about the same thing. Thank you very much, Phil. Councillor Peterborough. Thanks for the nice presentation, Phil. Just to continue, what they were saying for those plans, I think it's difficult to put a deadline. I think we should as a vision that the plan be adopted before our term is over, because this council will be part of this project. I think it's important to have this plan adopted prior to May 2026. So that's when the next election will be. So the next council can start without doing any changes. So the plan would be done by May 2026. I think it would be a nice deadline. But there's something I understand. If we have it here, we want for that plan to be presented to this council here, I think it would be a good goal. Thank you very much, Councillor Peterborough. Thank you very much, Mr. Robichaud. So, for the next one, EcoVision 2025, I think Jolene is here. Good evening, Jolene. Good. She's not sure if she has a PowerPoint or not. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and councillors. Today I'm here to represent the steering committee of EcoVision 2025 and to give you an update on the awareness campaign of the Ponzizit known as, or the slogan, No More May. So no, in May we let it grow. So first we would like to thank the council for the modification to the bylaw on the higher lawn in May to offer the citizen to encourage their citizen to participate in this environmental movement. This movement started a couple of years ago, increased in popularity very quickly. So this environmental movement is asking the citizen and the municipality not to mow their lawn during the month of May to help some pollinators. In April, the first sources of food are mostly flowers, such as the willow trees and the maple trees. But after this, the food sources are often what's grown in our lawn, such as those little purple flowers, and also those wild strawberries and dandelions. So it's mostly indigenous species. So we want to protect the food sources. Even though this campaign is important, in awareness of pollinator, we discover some challenges during the local participation over the last couple of years. At the beginning of May, it's warmer, and our lawns are growing in April. So by the end of May, we can have lawns that are very high, and they can bring problem for those who do not have lawnmowers that are strong enough to them. And they can also have a negative impact, such as the article described by the Guelph University. Community parks also can seem less accessible to the citizens, So when the lands are too high, and also like the landscape companies can have challenges for maintenance. And you even heard like some landscaping, they decided not to offer like the services people who are participated for the women. So new studies said there might be some benefits for the pollinator. So when you mow like every 2 or 3 weeks instead of waiting like until the end of May. So the campaign is mostly like for creation or protection of food sources for the pollinators. So in order to offer more flexibility to the citizens and to our municipalities, so we brought a modification to the campaign or the slogan. So we said like mow less often. When we mow less, the pollinator like it best. So the message we would like to share. So when the dandelions are still yellow, let them grow. So when they start to become white, before they come back to the seed, like you can mow your lawn. So this way, we give a chance to the native plants and dandelions to grow, and we give the opportunities to the citizens to maintain a certain control of their lawn. Also, so the goal of this year is to show like different ways how we can support pollinator, such as like natives in your landscaping. So that's it's called like native plants at home, is to increase like the food sources available for the pollinator above and beyond the month of May. So the website Ecovision 2025 was updated with more information that support the modification of the campaign. Thank you for listening, and I'm available to take any questions. Thank you for your presentation. As we can see lately, we were at the end of February, and it seemed as if spring was here. It's great like to adapt the way that our seasons work. So sometimes you can mow your lawn before the month of May, like even more than once. At least it gives some flexibility, and you can do it even like you can go like beyond the month of May, because then because when it's warm, like well, the lawn will not grow as fast. In terms of a promotion of the campaign, like the website, would there be any other means like to inform the population? We have a few signs that are being prepared like for the mitigation of the local. So usually we put them on the municipalities' land, so we'll install this on. So this lawn is mowed less often to promote the campaign, and usually like we have also like those electronic signs like at the two side of the town. Questions from the council members? Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Next item, we had no correspondence for this evening, but we had a report from standing and special committee. First, like the report from the financial reports that was distributed to the council. You had a chance to take a look at it. I don't know if anything you would like to mention, any questions, clarification. Councillor Paul Boudreau, just one question in all of this. So in the document, I don't know, we could answer the expenses, general expenses, so for those two documents. So page 1. I'm not questioning them. Like the assessment fees, $350,286. Who are we paying for this, and what do we get for this? Could it be clarified by the accountant? It's a big amount. So, so this is amount paid by to the province of New Brunswick for the evaluation fees associated with the the land owned by the municipalities. Like any way, like each citizen get like on his tax bill, property tax bill, like so a certain amount for the evaluation fee. So it's the same like for the land we own. So is it based on the amount of land we have, or it's close to $500,000 like dollars? So I think it's 2.4 cents. Like it's based on the property assessments. And with the time, we have a lot of properties. So many lands. So it's based on of the tax assessment of all the combined land. So that's what we pay to the province to do like the assessment of the evaluation of those, and the same as any other citizen get their fee on their property tax bill. Thank you. If we own less land, we would pay less. I wanted to know what we get for 250,000. So if we get like the evaluation service done by Service NB. So we're paying our share like any other citizen, any other municipalities.
Okay, merci.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you, Councilor Boudreau. No other questions? In terms of policing services, we have Sergeant Marc Béliveau, Acting Sergeant Marc Béliveau. Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and councilors. For your CMP, well, so our fourth quarter, we just ended on April 1st, so the statistics are not ready yet. I could get some data of what's happening now. So the increase we had, like some highlights, there was an increase of crimes under like $5,000 or such as shoplifting. It's a considerable increase for those crimes. And another thing, increase of sextortion cases, like blackmail with photos and social media. It's a bit of a problem. We get a lot of calls for these. So we're already planning to do some presentations in the schools, even like you do, so the starting in grade maybe 6, to have a presentation, so to inform them like the dangers of social media. Other than this, well, you probably saw like the breaking and enter, like the new building, like still in construction. We had a few, so they come and go, and we have suspects, and so we're working with apartment building owners to see like what we could do, what they can do to protect themselves better. So theft of gas. So as of today, like April 15, like the policing services in New Brunswick will not answer like a gas theft for gas, fuel theft. I know there are a lot of places in Canada you have to pay before you fuel, and some places in the province already starting doing this. Like so they logged their pump, and it really changed. Like it was a game changer. They saved a lot of money, less theft. So on our side, we still get a lot of call like with theft of fuel, and a lot of resources. So they were dedicated to do this. So it will help us like to be able to put our resources elsewhere. Other than this, well, summer is coming, so we want to make sure like everybody remember like to lock their cars, not leave the keys inside their cars. So when it's nicer outside, like you get more people like who are committing crime as usual, and also like is to report crime. So we want to make sure if something happened, even if it's only like a minor crime, we want to be aware. So because they can track those numbers, and for a minor crime, well, it can help us. Other than this, the new initiatives we're working on there now. It's a bike patrol in the town of Shediac. I was a police officer in Vancouver, so I was trained like for those type of patrol in Vancouver. It was something that it was very beneficial for the community. We were able to patrol like the trails. And the town of Shediac has a lot of trails, like campgrounds, beaches, and special events. Because access with bicycles is easier than sometimes with the police car or by walking. And sometimes also when there's some traffic jam or during the prime time of the summer. So it helped us to reduce our response time and increase the visibility, and people like to see us around town. It's one of those initiatives we're working on now. It's pretty much my report. So our bylaw officer is doing the same. They're patrolling like by bike, like when it's nice outside. It's something that we had experienced a great success. Like people appreciate like to see, and I think it will be the case like with you. A long time ago, I think we had some maybe like on foot patrol, but it's great to see on bike patrol. Yeah, you might have find a couple of bicycles like in the warehouse. No, they were not functional, so we found a couple of them. You mentioned like more crimes because you had the opportunity like to do the exercise of the prioritization of the RCMP goals. So that does not change a lot. I mean, just crime reduction and prevention. So we're talking about more crimes, like for theft under $5,000. I would imagine like it's probably common like in all the communities in southeastern New Brunswick. It's not only unique to Shediac, no. Yes, it's a trend we're seeing. No, the trends are similar, like and most of South and Eastern Caledonia, Rushibok detachment. So it's very similar. In terms to report online crimes with the website, is it something people can do, like especially for thing we will not really answer, like somebody got into your shed and you noticed today like it happened 3 days ago? Well, unless we take there's not a whole lot to do, like unless doing like the inventory of what was taken. Any like type of crimes like that we could report online. So these are the ones like we will do not answer the calls that much. Summer is coming. So let's say somebody said, I'm at my cottage and I think somebody was in. There was a break in my cottage during the winter. Well, I haven't been there in 5 months. Even those crimes, like they will analyze the file and decide if it has to go to the patrol. If it has to go to the patrol, well, they'll send it there. It's easier this way. And we can also put a website like where to go, but it's easier. And sometimes when in busier times, those going on calls, like people can wait up to like 15 minutes before they can talk to someone to report their crimes. Sometimes like to go online and report it online, it's quicker. Despite the unfortunate situation for if you can have like a quicker service, like it's better. Like for minor accidents, there's no damages, no. Sometimes the insurance still needs like phone numbers and information, so we can do that also. Councillor Paul Boudreau. So I attended your activity last week. I was not able to go. Sorry. Like, so how did it go? Because comment from people, it was really nice. Like, just to develop on this, we call it like a coffee with a police officer. So it's an initiative, like it's a global initiative. And as a counselor, like take a drink of coffee with someone, it's a very relaxed environment. And we wanted to do what we could bring the community and be in a position. We were at Tim Hortons. People could approach us, ask questions, and we chat about everything and anything. So I think people appreciated this, and it was well received in the community.
I had the chance to take a little visit. It was great to see people who could come talk to you, even within offer to pay a coffee for somebody in the Tims. It was nice to see. A lot of times people don't like to see you, but it was a pleasant thing in this instance. We're trying to be around. We don't want people to hesitate to come see us. So in terms of resources, the Public Safety Department has just announced that they're going to increase staffing based on the provincial agreement for public safety, and we're part of that. I think we're going to get two more officers at the Shediac detachment. Do we know when? It was announcing 2 new positions. There's a new recruit who just started last week, and somebody else, a new person coming who will be here next week or the end of this week. So there's 2 recruits starting with us. Unfortunately, 2 have left, but we have 2 positions that we're seeking to fill. We're seeking to fill 2 other 2 positions right now. We wish you success. Thank you very much. And fire services now. You had the opportunity to see the usual report by the fire chief with lots of stats as well. I would thank him, actually. He's here tonight. Do any council members have any questions, or any councillors have any questions? Would anything like the fire chief would like to say to the council in terms of news? Nothing extraordinary. No news is good news, I suppose. Usually, when you come here, you tell us it's because something is going badly. Well, there are a few questions, Councillor Paul Boudreau. Not a question, a comment. I'm privileged to be able to convey this message. A few weeks ago, there was some flooding in my basement, and Donald's team acted with a great professionalism. So incredible. We have a great service in town. I thank from the deep of my heart. Thank Donald's team, the people who worked on it that morning. I'm not the only one who had that challenge with my basement. Thank you to Donald and your team, and with the way you reacted. If that's the offer that they service, if the same service that I got and that all the other citizens are getting, we have a wonderful fire service in town. Thank you, Councillor Boudreau. I know that the fire brigade is always there to help out, and however they can, nearly however they can. Councillor Jonas, a question? I'm just curious. Help to ambulances went up. Is it because ambulances are now stuck in hospitals? And is that why you're offering more help to the paramedics? We have a hard time with that, actually. We give the service. We don't have the choice. So the ambulance is not close enough, so you're called to go to the residence. Pretty much every time. It's a normal thing. It's not the only place. We do what we can. Is there something the municipality can do with the province or with the ambulances or? I would like to see that. I think all municipalities would like the answer to that one. Well, thank you. That's what I thought. Thanks for confirming it. Councillor Emile O'Brien. Yes. A question for the chief? I didn't stop you in the middle. Councillor didn't have a question, but does 911 dispatch you? It's the medical center, actually. 911 for them, and they call us every time, especially for cardiac arrest. It's a common thing. We mostly respond to those calls. It's not a question of non-medical calls. Do you have a defibrillator? We have two. One for us and one for them. That's great. Thank you. As long as the councillor doesn't need one for himself, it's great. So, number 8.3, building permit reports. You have the usual report for building permits. The director is absent tonight. He's elsewhere in Halifax right now, actually, for a conference. I see that within the first 3 months of 2024, January to March, we're up to 24 million, a little more than that. There's one big industrial permit that's a bit unusual. That's the permit for a project in the Shediac Industrial Park. We knew that there was interest, and then we knew that was coming, but the permit is out. So it does influence our figures. Great. Any questions, Councillor O'Brien? The building permits. Can we know as councillors what each permit amounts to as a report? It says 17 building permits, 17 residential building permits, and 7 multi-unit residential. The reason I'm asking is that I find commercial, in the commercial side, we rarely see commercial development in the town of Shediac. There's apartments. I go to the Tim's, and I'm always asked, the town is just building apartment blocks. Well, I'm not saying it's bad, but it's just what people tell me, right? And I'm asking questions. Is there not any commercial development happening in town on Main Street? Lots that are designated commercial that are being developed? It's a question. Is it fair to ask? If you look, there's always comparison to the previous year. In the previous year, there were 4 commercial building permits, and this year, as of today, there was 4 new commercial permits in addition to the industrial permit. So we're basically following the same trends. Certainly, there's always other projects in discussion and other projects wending their way through the system. It's not up to us to announce them. They have to announce them when they're ready to do them. I can tell you that there's some coming. Certainly, one attracts the other. The more there residential development there is, it will tend to attract more commercial development. Okay, so that brings my question about commercial development. Once they have their building permit, can we have a copy? Those who have received a permit? My sense is that we receive them automatically. Plan 360 gives them to us. We could certainly look into what format we could use to share it, to know what companies are applying. Once it's public, once it's public information, we can certainly try to see what kind of report we can provide to you. I'm asking this for this reason. We get asked as councillors, and we don't have the answer. It's a bit of an unknown. Someone comes to the Tim's and asks about building permits. I'd like to be able to answer something. Inaudible. Mr. Clerk is just telling me the figure. The commercial for 2023, at the end of December, it was 48.5 million. That included the new Maison Providence residents. Once they've had their building permit, can we get the information, who it is and what they're building? You know, when you're having a conversation with people, that's the only reason I would like it. It's not necessarily all new construction. It could be a renovation where you need to go get a building permit if it's commercial as well. But it'd be part of that figure. That's great. Thank you very much. Great. So, coming back to the agenda here. So next point, it's report from the CAO. Thank you, Your Worship. It's certainly, there's a lot of work to be done at the town hall, so many projects. And I'll take advantage of this to thank the staff and all of their individual teams. They're doing incredible work to move forward the various files and the various projects. Maybe just a few points. We could talk about it for a long time, and know that's already a long meeting, but with the Regional Service Commission and the new mandates received for that commission after the local governance reform, it's really keeping me busy on the regional basis. There's a few directors who are involved in subcommittees. In the last few weeks, we had meetings relating to collaboration between small municipalities, trying to see how we can help each other in terms of the Regional Service Commission to bring, you know, together we're stronger, and maybe smaller municipalities can collaborate better. There's also an initiative underway right now in terms of emergency measures. We mentioned the last meeting of the protective services. We're seeking to collaborate on a larger region and having a series of mutual aid agreements between municipalities. It'd be good to have one for all of the Regional Service Commission. We participated in the consultations with the RCMP that were just mentioned. I'm part of the Public Transportation Committee. We're looking into various possibilities to improve public transportation in southeastern New Brunswick. I know that now the council has created a new environmental committee, and there'll be a first meeting of that committee soon. I think there's some committee members who are on vacation, so we're waiting for people to come back from vacation for that committee meeting. And we'll soon have a first meeting of the audit committee. It had not happened yet, but with the presentation of the financial statement for 2023, the presentation to the council is scheduled for 21 May. But there'll be work to be done before that. We're going to gather the committee to work with the auditors and see where we're at on that front for 2023. And one final point of interest. I know there's a few members at council asking transaction for the lot on 42 King Street for Habitat for Humanity. It's completed this week. No, sorry, Friday. And this is a project that should be able to start soon. They're just waiting to finish the duplex. And those are some points that I want to highlight. If you have any questions on any of the topics, I can certainly accept your questions. Inaudible. I'm not sure if I should ask my question here or when you ask for information. On January 22nd, I made a motion. Title search for Riverside Drive. I know it's probably not done. Have you had discussions? I know it's going to take a while, but where are you at? Every few weeks, I ask the lawyers to see what progress we've made. We're still waiting. The title search is still not finalized. There were some questions where they had to go back to the province to get some answers. related to Crown land. So the lawyer is waiting for the title search to be completed. Once he has that title search, he'll offer legal advice based on that. We hope it'll happen soon, but every few weeks we check back in to see where it's at. We haven't forgotten about it, that's for sure. Thank you. Councillor Emile O'Brien. I have a question just on that topic. That file has been going for 3 or 4 years. I don't get it. Why does it take so long for the lawyers to do a title search? That lot, it's already proved that the town owns that land. And honestly, in my opinion, it's a shame. Shameful that the citizens of town of Shediac need to hire a lawyer to prove that the town owns a piece of land that it already owns. It doesn't make sense. I find it's a major lack of respect to the citizens to simply get access to the water on Quai des Pèlerins. That's all they want. It's been 4 years now that this has been dragging. I respect the CAO's answer. In February, we were supposed to get an answer. Something was promised in February. No, when we met the lawyer told us it could take several weeks, possibly months. That was as of mid-January. So we're still, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to try to interpret legal documents and land title and property title. That's why we hire specialists. Once we have the legal advice, we'll share it with the council in camera, as we do with all legal advice, irrespective of the file. There are steps to be followed. We're asking for updates every few weeks to be sure that it's not being forgotten. There are several files on which we're working with our lawyers. One of several files, actually, that we're working on with a different lawyer. It's not all the same lawyer. And once they have completed the title search and they've done the analysis, they will share it with you. I can't make them go any faster. I get this. I understand there's a timeline. They said when they came to meet you, they said it would take time. They didn't give you any specific time frames. It could take months. It all depends on how deep. What was the date that was recorded? The day after the meeting where the motion passed. I don't have the exact date. January 3rd. The next day after our meeting. And now it's going on 3 months and haven't been able to do a title search. That's what I have a hard time with. That's the part. Well, they're doing their work, and it's not the decision of the council was to proceed on that basis. I understand that. It can take a while, I understand, but I do call into question, why is it taking so long? It's a title search. You will have the opportunity to ask them the question when we'll be having our meeting, in terms of the amount of time it took. I can't answer for that for him. I'm not asking you to answer for him. I just don't find this a normal thing. The things that we don't know, that's okay, that's fine. So, recommendations from the SERSC 10.1. It's a cul-de-sac on Mia Street. Mr. CAO, do you want to give us the background on this one? Yes, Plan 360 provided us a short report. It's a practice when we're working on subdivisions of a certain size area. It's under construction. They're going to finish construction of the street this summer, and it will join up with the other street. During construction, it does create cul-de-sacs that are longer than what is allowed according to our bylaws and our plan. So it requires a resolution from the council to grant temporary permission for that cul-de-sac. It's rather standard. It's something that we're asking, and this often happens with subdivisions. Councillor Paul Boudreau, do you want to read the motion? Well, maybe not just yet. Inaudible. Councillor Joel Després, maybe you can back him up? Well, Councillor Boudreau, I need a motion before we can proceed to questions. So if you want to make the motion and then have the question afterwards, you can do that. I'll do it after. I can't find the motion, Your Worship. Councillor Després will make the motion. 10.1 to cul-de-sac Mia Street. Whereas the Southeast Regional Services Commission recommends that Shediac Municipal Council accept this cul-de-sac of 246 meters, even though the limit is 180 meters. Therefore, be it resolved that the length of the cul-de-sac shown on the subdivision plan of Domaine des Faisans Unit 2, Phase 5 in the Mia Street area be accepted. I so move. Moved by Councillor Joel Després, seconded by Deputy Mayor Sylvie Colette Boudreau. Any questions on the motion? Councillor Paul Boudreau. I'm just looking, Your Worship, I don't know if someone can answer. If we accept this cul-de-sac based on the map presented, is it Jeff on the plan? There could be an empty lot behind the cul-de-sac. Could I refer to Jeff? Do you have it? The rest of the lot, there's something remaining at the end of the cul-de-sac. It'll be part of the next phase. I'm not sure. You see the X? Maybe I'm misinterpreting this. The X is the temporary turnaround. Oh, it's a temporary. Until the next phase. You see at the start, temporary is the key word here then. It's temporary. It's not a lot either. It's a future street or an access point or an easement. So based on what we vote on tonight, it won't stop development further on to the south. The developer controls that schedule. Thank you, that's clear. No other questions? Your Worship. Councillor Cormier. Thank you, Your Worship. I didn't. Thank you, Your Worship. So just to stipulate or clarify, am I understanding correctly that it's a cul-de-sac, the temporary one? It's precisely that, yes. Yes, thank you. Great. So, on the motion, all those in favor, say aye. Contrary minded, nay. Motion carried. Thank you very much. So on the next point, unfinished business, nothing for that, and nothing for introduction to business. Number 13, inquiries by members of council. Are there other councillors who are seeking information on something? Councillor Boudreau? Yes, I'm asking the question of the CAO, the file for the multi-generational recreation center. Where are we at with that? Is there a next step? Well, yeah, you were presented the roadmap, the project vision. So we just had a meeting. We're having one later on this week, tomorrow actually, with the consultant to discuss the public consultation phase. The project is wending its way, like all the others. We're trying to manage each project, with the time required. The motion that we passed a few weeks ago for the street study in Pointe-du-Chêne, are we making progress? What's the next step? What are we doing with that right now? Well, it's one file among many, of course, and we're trying to make progress. The intention, you mandated the staff to do a search and come back with options. So we're doing the research. Once we have options to present to you, We're looking into various scenarios and various possibilities. We're consulting different with people to see how we might be able to handle that question and what type of recommendations we might be able to make. I don't have a timeline yet, but we will try to get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you very much. In terms of the tenders for the fire hall and the trucks on Main Street, do you know what's happening with that? For Main Street, the tender is out. I think it's closing this week. We're opening submissions on Wednesday. Opening tenders on Wednesday. And on Bridge Street, Bellevue Street, that closed last week. So you'll be hearing a recommendation pretty soon. And the director of municipal operations just texted me that they're waiting on final plans for the fire hall tomorrow so that they go to tender. Thank you very much. That's great work. A last point, it's the volunteer week. Lovely event coming up. Thank you, Julie, for that. I'm looking forward to Thursday so that we can acknowledge our volunteers. That's all. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Boudreau. Madam Deputy Mayor, we're a little further along in terms of the temperature. Have the staff taken out the sweeper or to fix elements that have been broken by the plows? They've started. We're putting a lot of attention on Main Street and Chesley Street. With lots of blockages of the rainwater system. So our staff's really working on that. Yeah, the sweeper will be coming out in the next few weeks. We're going to start to clean on Main Street and mostly the downtown. And thank you. It's greatly appreciated. When can we start to put out bags on Friday for branches and leaves? Can we do it now? You'd have to talk to the department. The big garbage is coming on the 29th. I'm not entirely sure when it's starting. I'll get back to you. Could you send a little note to the council? That'd be great. And we put it on social media once we know. Lots of people have asked me. With spring in full swing, it's really ahead of itself. If I recall properly, I might be wrong. I thought it started that Friday collection would start in the same week as Big Garbage Day. Somebody told me that at some point, I think, but I could be wrong. Great. And what's more, the lawn and the leaves can put in a clear bag, and it can be put in regular garbage when it is clear garbage day, up to 3 bags. It could be useful to people to know that. Councillor Peter Bro. Thank you, Your Worship. I've been approached by some residents in terms of email and calls for department heads. Those numbers were taken out of the website. Was that done because we want everything to be sent through the receptionist, or those people are no longer available? Oh, they're available. The problem is they were a bit too available, and they're spending their time answering. We're trying to make sure that we have a better control of calls and follow-up. We ask follow-up to go through receptionist. Julie Andrus, the receptionist, she's taking all the calls and she passes them on to the proper directors. We're trying to be a bit more efficient in terms of their time usage. Otherwise, people call and call back again and call back again. And we're trying to better control and give our staff the time to do its work. Everything passes through the receptionist. I think it's a pretty standard thing. You'll see this in a lot of municipalities on their website. That's how it works. We're simply trying to better control the back and forth and make sure that proper follow-up happens. Thank you. That's it. Well, thank you very much. So, in terms of introduction reading of bylaws, we have third reading for Z 144455Z. That's for zoning. We did the first two readings, not the first, 2 weeks ago, actually. So I would simply, to continue with that, someone would need to move it. Councillor Jean-Claude Bertin, would you like to read it? Yes, Your Worship. Third reading, Z 144455 Z. That bylaw Z 144455 Z, a bylaw amending the Shediac zoning bylaw, be read a third time by its title. Moved by Councillor Jean-Claude Bertin, seconded by Councillor Joël Després. Any questions on the motion? Otherwise, all those in favor say aye. Contrary-minded, nay. One no. Councillor Galland. Motion carried. Mr. Clerk. Thank you. So, bylaw number Z 14-44-55 Z, a bylaw amending zoning bylaw number Z 14-44 of the town of Shediac. I move that we accept the third reading, the bylaw Z 14-44-55 Z by its title. I so moved by Councillor Jean-Claude Bertin, seconded by Councillor Joël Després. All those in favor shall say aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. One no. Councillor Galland. One question. I support the motion, but, excuse me, the traffic impact study, maybe I didn't understand the answer last week. Is it simulated? Is it simulating as if Brobridge is open? Is that the plan? As I see here that you can't have the plan before the study is done. The permit will not be granted until so long as the various conditions have not been met. So when the developer will have done their report, their request, they will consult our operations department, municipal operations department. Thank you, Your Worship. And it will all depend on where we are at in the project. But certainly, it is our intention to do the work. The report will be written based on that. So long as all of the conditions of the permit have not been met, the permit will not be granted. Thank you. So now it's motions and resolutions. 15.1. Distributions of amounts based on the commercial incentive policy. Maybe we could give a bit of background on this one. Mr. Chevalier? Yes. Just generally speaking, as we spoke during the last council meeting, the incentives is for buildings that have built in the last few years below $2.5 million in terms of building commercial building permit. We give 5% divided over 5 years in terms of the value of the building permit, and above 2.5 million, we grant 8% divided over the first 6 years. Thank you. Madam Deputy Mayor, would you like to read the motion? So, distribution of amounts based on the commercial incentives general policy. Whereas according to Policy 12-09, the following merchants are eligible to receive in 2024 an installment under the commercial incentive. Be it resolved that the town of Shediac agrees to reimburse the following under the commercial development incentive policy. Diamonds windshields, fifth and last installment, $3,250 plus HST. Shediac Bayview Properties Incorporated, second installment, $7,845 plus HST. Kent Building Supplies, fifth installment, $76,158.45 plus HST. GY Enterprise Incorporated, DQ. Third installment, $10,868.34 plus HST. I so move, Your Worship. Moved by Deputy Mayor Sylvie Colette Boudreau, seconded by Councillor Janice Cormier. Any questions? Councillor Paul Boudreau. Questions to the Assistant Director. I see that the fifth installment, is the fifth the last one? One saying is, it says final installment. It's the last one? Which one are you speaking of? Whichever one. If the permit was above 2.5 million, there's a sixth installment.
If it was over 1.5 million, so there's a sixth installment.
It
does not say like a final, so there's still 1 year left.
Next year will be the last year. Perfect. Great. That's it?
He said
so
on this note,
with that,
all in
those
favor,
in favor shall say
saying aye.
Contrary minded, nay.
Carry.
Motion carried. Thank you. Number 15.2, distribution of a certain amounts based on the residential incentive policy.
So I don't know if you would like to.
Would you like to?
For single-family
dwellings, we give
1,250 like per house, and for creative 215 for trailers.
Row housing is $1,000 per unit,
and
duplexes is $1,500 per unit. Also, there's a few that are multi-residential above $3 million. We give 1.5% of the property assessment value over the first year. 1 year only. Thank you. Councillor Janice Cormier, would you like to read the motion? Distribution of amounts based on the residential incentive policy. Be it resolved that the town of Shediac issue a residential development incentive check to the following developers and residents. Maison AML Homes Limited, 21 lots, $26,250 plus HST. LMD Construction Incorporated, 51 lots, $63,750 plus HST. BDL Quality Homes Limited, 12 houses, $15,000 plus HST. Zeal Construction Incorporated, 2 duplexes, $6,000 plus HST. ACVE Capital Incorporated, 6 row houses, $6,000 plus HST. 360-degree homes, 7 houses, $8,750 plus HST. Justin and Jeremy Babineau, 4 row houses, $4,000. McGraw Brothers Construction Incorporated, 1 house, $1,250. Terra C Group Incorporated, 28 row houses, $28,000. Gestion Figo Holding, 95 units, $260,935.50. Plus Riverside Shediac Incorporated, 50 units, $176,910. I so move, Your Worship. Moved by Councillor Janice Cormier, seconded by Councillor Paul Boudreau. Any questions? Councillor Patricia Bourque-Chevrier. Thank you, Your Worship. Is that amount based on presenting an invoice? Mr. CEO saying, in some case, the HST is applicable, other times not. Thank you. Councillor Emile O'Brien. Thank you. Thank you, Your Worship. So they created 21 lots, and you pay an incentive of $26,250. Those are lots nothing is built on? Or exactly. It's just for a subdivision. I think I've already asked this question. I don't remember, but I'll ask again. Will be another incentive once they'll have a house built on it? Yes, precisely. Okay. So the second incentive goes to the developer. It depends who applies. and the agreement that the builder has in terms of developing the lot. And the 50 units on Riverside Drive, 176,000. Is that so much per apartment? That goes by the property assessment value. It's 1.5% of the value of the property assessment value. And building permit value is commercial. Property assessment value is the value of that it was assessed on PAX. That's what that figure is based on. It's good for the developer. I know the system got overhauled in terms of the incentive. Yeah, it will be revised. And after the presentation that we did, we're writing a new policy. Is there a timeline on that one? I'm almost afraid to give you a timeline.
I'm almost afraid of giving you a timeline.
Just approximately.
Just an overview. We're working we're trying to be as quick as possible, so we're hoping it will be during the next meetings. He said the last meetings with an S. Just maybe a specification. We have to keep in mind when we're talking about lots, we're making those installment once, but if the house is there for 50 years, for 55 years, we will be collecting property taxes the town of Shediac. So we did maybe the first one or second year to recuperate our costs, but after if the house is there, it's a revenue that we get as long as the house is standing. So this is the rationale behind those incentives. So it's encouraging those investment, and then those investment produce a return on investment for the municipality. I understand your reasoning behind it, and I think it was good many years ago, but I think now we still need that system because the town is growing so fast. So with a population of 11,000 just within a couple of years, I'm glad that they get those incentive. It encourages them, but the only thing I'm questioning is do we still need this incentive today? So to add they would the municipal boundary, so we added some. On this note, all in favor signify by saying aye. Against nay? Carried. Thank you very much. 15.3 Lobster Festival. If you can give us some background. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I think the mayors are used to those requests. It's coming up every year. So these are 3 requests for the Lobster. The Lobster Festival is presenting to the council to ask some special permission during the festival. The one is concerning to install temporary signs at the 2 entrances of the municipalities, and the other one is concerning the noise bylaw during the week of the festival, and the third one is to close some streets. So the 3 requests are there, and the resolution is the same as the council adopted last year. Councillor Patricia Bouk-Chevary, if you would like to read it. Be it resolved that the municipal council grant the special permission requested by the Shediac Lobster Festival concerning temporary signs, the closing of certain streets, and the exemption for the excessive noise bylaw for 2024. I shall move, Mr. Mayor. Moved by Councillor Patricia Bouk-Chevary, seconded by Councillor Germaine Galland. Questions on the motion? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Against nay? Motion carried. 15.4. A bike patrol for the Shediac RCMP. Mr. CEO, so thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you saw during the presentation earlier this evening, so the RCMP would like to introduce a bike patrol for the town of Shediac this summer, during the summer season. And they're asking the town to be a financial partner in this initiative. So in the description of the project, well, you saw like there is a series of equipment of material required to do this. And a percentage of this would be paid by the RCMP, but the rest, another percentage would be paid by the municipality. So our share contribution will represent like an amount of $2,895. And I think the total number, you didn't have it in your report. I think it's close. It's an initiative of $7,000, like close to that. So it's about 55% of the cost that would be paid by the RCMP and 45% by the town of Shediac. But it's just approximate. So it would be a request for $2,895 if the council would like to undertake this project. It would be coming from the funds would budget counseling special projects. 15.4, bike patrol for Shediac RCMP to be resolved that the town of Shediac accept the proposal of the Shediac RCMP to set up a bike patrol unit. Be it further resolved that the town of Shediac proceed with the purchase of equipment and bicycle in the amount of $2,895 and that the funds be taken from the budget council special project 1-28253. I shall move. Moved by Councillor Joël Després, seconded by Councillor Janice Cormier. Questions on the motion? Just a comment. We have very good providers, so I don't know if all like maybe the bicycles and the equipment could be purchased in Shediac. We have a very good provider, like equipment provider. Thank you. Sergeant Beliveau. Councillor Patricia Bourg-Chauvin. Thank you, Miss. I was looking at the budget. It's really 4 bicycles at $300 each. I'm not one like I'm not biking too much, but so the last time we checked it, so we're hoping that's what the price it should be around $300 because they were equipment for 2 members. There were 4 bicycles because there one member he already has all his equipment. That's good. Thank you. Might be able to negotiate a better price. No, they're not e-bikes for sure. They're in shape, our CMP member. So when you went here, like you came to Tim Hortons biking to just burn the calories from the donuts. This all in favor, signify aye. Oh, Mr. Mayor. Oh, sorry, Councillor Cormier. I'm certainly not against this motion. So the only question I would have, we had a presentation that we had 2 bikes that we're not using. Like, so I hope like people for our CMP will be generous and donate them like to individuals. That might be useful for people who are less fortunate, who might need them. I'm hoping we could at least consider them instead of leaving them like in the garage, and we're not even aware that we're there. We might maybe donate them to someone who might need it. So that's a good suggestion. There's the RCMP logo on it, though. We can remove it. We can remove the lights or.
No.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Carried. Thank you very much. 15.5, solid waste collection. Mr. CEO, thank you, Mr. Mayor. You would probably remember that we came to see you like concerning some change like to the solid waste collection. It was mandated by the province or the overall territory, and they could resist the presentation. it seems to be like a follow-up to this. One thing we notice, I don't want to get too much into detail because it's quite long. The province mandated like a new approach to recycling, like in blue bags, like with a corporation that called Circular Materials, but they decided not to take the same approach for the territory they are responsible for. So they asked the municipality like to do something like to take one approach, but themselves, like they're not taking the same approach. So because of this, because they do not continue with this program, circular material has to do like the collection in places where it was done by the province. If you remember, since the reform on local governance, like the payment for waste collection in the former list was going through the municipality, but it was still based on the former contracts in place by the province. But the province decided to cancel those contracts as of November 3rd of this year. ECO 360 saw an opportunity as they were saying, so they're working. So the Regional Service Commission and ECO 360 and the department within the commission, they saw the opportunity to maybe to play a greater role in the solid waste collection in all the region. I know where they're processing the waste, but they would be ready to do a regional collection that would meet the challenges the municipalities have, in the LSDs, where the province canceled their contracts. In our case, in the former boundaries of the town of Shediac, we had a contract in place that was ending June 30th of this year, and usually we would have renewed this contract, but once again, with the initiative put in place by ECO 360, to do a regional waste collection, our recommendation would be to join ECO 360, so they would have the contract for a solid waste collection on the overall territory of the municipality participating in this project with circular material for the blue bag. So this is the method that would have the least impact on the citizen, because it would be the same routine for them essentially, and it would continue. So there would be no interruption, no service interruption. To do all of this, we have to negotiate an extension of our actual contract starting from July 1st to November 3rd. And starting November 3rd, we would be part of the regional project with ECO 360. So this summarizes. So that's why the resolution is a little bit long. We just wanted to explain the context and background of this. FARO would continue the collection in the former boundaries until November 3rd. And the province will continue to have its contract with the former LSDs. And from November 3rd, we would all be part of the regional collection with ECO 360. We think it would create some efficiencies and maybe some economy, more savings long term. So when we go to tender, it's just to fill the difference between the two. So on this note, I need a motion. Councillor Paul Boudreau, if you would like to read it. I have a question after. You can ask a question after the motion. Whereas the town's existing contract with FARO for the collection of solid waste from the town's former boundaries expire on June 30th, 2024, whereas the province of New Brunswick has notified the town that the contracts for solid waste collection in the former LSDs of Scoudouc Road, Shediac Cape, and Pointe-du-Chêne will end on November 3rd, 2024. And whereas the Southeast Regional Service Commission, SERSC, is seeking to implement a regional solid waste collection program, therefore be it resolved that Council grant an extension to FERO's contract for the collection of solid waste from the town's old boundaries at a rate of $6,861.28 plus HST per week for a period of 18 weeks from July 1st to November 3rd, 2024. Be it further resolved that Council informed like the SERSC of its intention to participate in a regional solid waste collection model managed by ECO 360 from starting November 3rd, 2024. Moved by Councillor Paul Boudreau, seconded by Councillor Jean-Claude Bertin. Questions on the motion? Councillor Paul Boudreau. I have a question. Does it include like the cleanup waste? Are we paying more for this one? I think it's a part like the price we pay for residential collection. So we have two collections, one in the fall and one in spring with Fero. In the former LSDs, and the new like boroughs would be a different contract. So they have three, like one the spring, one the summer, one the fall. So these are items to be discussed. It's fixed for 2024, but it will be discussed what it will look like starting 2025. I know for 2024, for the new wards, it will still get the same service. Councillor Roland Cormier. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is it the same rate like we're paying now, or that we'll pay for the 18 week? I think it's increased that rate, the memorandum you have in, and to extend like a contract like for 18 weeks, there is an additional cost. I think it was close to $50,000, $51,500, like that it would cost more, like to get this extension. This contract, it was a 4-year contract, and we're asking like to extend it until the end. So we're not really in a position like to negotiate too much because this is the price they came out with. Are we in a position to re-enter like all of this? Or we already have one with the town of Shediac, so it put one in a precarious situation. So this is the contract for the former town of Shediac that was expiring, would expire on June 30th. So we cannot go to tender like for 18 weeks because starting November 3rd, it will be a new contract. ECO 360 will go to tender to get the best prices possible, like for the region. It's really only like to bring up for the 18 weeks that were missing from the contract for the former municipality. So, and for the former LSTs. Thanks for the clarification. And I would like to add like as of November 3rd, like it would be managed by ECO 360, like the waste collection. They're already processing it, but they would be doing the collection, and that would be for the overall territory, except Greater Moncton and Tentramar. They opted out, but all the municipalities had the choice. It will be a good chunk of the territory, more volume, so the price will be probably more interesting contract-wise per household, per municipality. So we'll see, because it did not happen again, but that's what ECO 360 were saying, like they had. So this would be the best interest of all those municipalities to participate. We might have some good news. Councillor Emile O'Brien. So once the system is implemented after November 3rd, so someone from the Service Commission did a presentation. So when the system is in place, will it come back? Will he come back like to explain how it will work? Because I remember his presentation. It sounded a bit complicated. So they were talking about the processing, part for processing. Oh, yes, there will be a process, like a tender process, and we'll need to have all this information in Shediac and the municipalities, because When it's changed, like, because the public will certainly be asking some questions. So what do we put like in the blue bag, or especially when there are some changes? Yes, it would be good to get all the details. Just to be more specific, we'll continue like to have three bags, like clear, blue, and green. The question will be, will be put in blue, but definitely like there will be some education campaigns and awareness campaigns. And if ever the council would like to have another presentation this fall, we certainly can organize this with Eco 360. Thank you. Councilor Patricia Bouk-Chevary. The Service Commission is going to tender. They do not have like their own truck, right? Yeah, it would be like the same companies. Might be Faro, like picking up the solid waste again. Thank you. Could be the same truck, same driver. So, on this note, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Against nay. Motion carried. Thank you. 15.6, award of contract purchase of plow gearbox and accessory for tandem truck. Mr. CEO, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm looking at Denis, so I might need your help. So we went to call to tender, and we would remember, like, we purchased like a new tandem truck. So these are the equipments going on that truck, and for snow plow. So Denis, maybe if you want to add something like yes, exactly, like it's all the equipment like going on the snow plow, like the plow, the box, and all the accessories for repair and all. We went to we went to tender, and they ended on April 10. We got two bidders. So usually it's the same bidder and with different equipment, the same supplier, like and the equipment supplier. And the goal that to get all the equipment for the snowplow, and once the equipment has been purchased, like the oldest truck of the float, like is put out of service and put for sale, like. So these are like the main lines, and the two prices are there. So the evaluation committee, it was a call for tender for. We had a quotation, the call for the equipment. We had a list of criteria for required equipment, and the evaluation committee like evaluated the two quotes, and they recommended it to go forward. Apply pressure in with the equipment coming from Tenco Equipment. So they got the highest score. Councilor Després, if you would like to read it. Yeah, can I read it? 15.6. Award of contract purchase of plow gearbox and accessories for tandem truck. Be it resolved to award contract TS 24-205 for the purchase of a tandem truck plow, box, and accessories to the highest bidder, Apply Pressure Inc., with Tenco Equipment, in the amount of $234,591.36, net HSC included. Funds will come from the capital projects equipment TP account budgeted at $435,000. With the purchase of the truck, the total cost exceeds the budgeted amount by $11,755.97. This amount will come from account 1-23043 TP equipments, repairs and maintenance. I shall move. Moved by Councillor Joël Després, seconded by Councillor Germaine Galland. Yes, Councillor Després. Sylvain, like in French, he put like, they went with the highest score. In English, it says the highest bidder. It's the highest score. I think that's where Roland. Yeah, it's a correction needs to be made. Councillor Roland Cormier, question? Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I understand well, like we only had one bidder, but he bid on two pieces of equipment, eh? Essentially, no? Two different lines of equipment, the same provider, so for the plow equipment, there's not a whole lot doing them. So they just partner with some providers and they install it of the truck. Like, so there were two different options for the truck. So we're going with the two options. We're going with the Tenco equipment. So La Rochelle. But La Rochelle equipment is part of Tenco equipment? No. So these are two different companies. Applied Pressure Inc. is. If I can summarize this, it's like a car dealer, like that would be that is selling Chrysler and Dodge. They bidded they have like two different brand of equipment, and we choose like one brand. So it means we only got like one tender that were open, and we evaluated, and it seems to be we're not comparing on anything else. It must be the best one, right? We got two, but like the same dealer presented a price with one, and then he submitted a second part. Yes, there was only like one company that bidded, but he gave two prices, like according to a different pieces of equipment. So are there any other companies in the industry that would offer this type of equipment, that can provide these type of equipment? So the company like that made the quote, like they will only assemble like the truck. Or the company was public, and it was posted like on the province website. So I'm not saying like we do not need those pieces of equipment, but I have a fundamental problem. I know there's only one who bidded. My question, legally, like if there's only one that bidded, that sent a quote, legally, can we say no, like we will not proceed? And legally, so we went public like for 3 weeks. We cannot force any companies like to bid. So we went to tender for 3 weeks, and the only company that I can follow your train of mind. So if we came out with 1.5 million bid, so it would be agreement. So we went 3 weeks. We only got one, and 1.5 million, and that's it. No, 435,000 for the tandem truck and equipment. So 11,554 over. So it's it was still within the margin we had identified. So we went for the last step when we purchased like the tandem truck, but it was a truck with nothing, and it's a second component. So the combination of the two, we would have a budget of $435,000 for all of it, and 11,000 above budget. Thank you for the clarification. So for this one and any other motions, well, you can vote against, and the motion could be defeated. It might answer another part of your question. Councillor Paul Boudreau, 204,000 for the accessories. So the accessories for the truck we are replacing. So it was we're not did not fit with the new one. No, like snow removal equipment has a life duration. Like after a while, like it doesn't work. Like because we're doing a lot of maintenance. Cannot remember like the year of the for the truck. So it's going to auction. So do we have a spot in the budget that can put like the revenues generated by this one? So where we put it back in the budget for equipment and repair. Good, thank you, Denis. On this one, for the motion, all in favor saying aye. Against nay. Motion carried. 15.7, hiring consultant for the transportation master plan. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's one of those studies that Phil of Plan 360 referred to this evening. It's one of the plans you will need to complete like the review of the municipal plan. And so they prepare like our master plan for our water system, and the sewer commission also adopted it. So we would have a master plan like for transportation and our road network, trail network, sidewalks, etc., and validated with some recommendation. I might let Denis explain this one. So we got 3 quotes. So if you'd like to explain the process. So we approach like three different company, like for the town of Shediac. So we ask to submit a proposal just to develop the new plan. And so when it comes to transportation, so the master transportation plan goes back to 2014. So we need like a new plan with the town development and the 10-year vision. So it came in today, and we need. So when it's come to transportation, so it's active transportation, so that's sidewalk, trails, and also the road network. It will be analyzed in this report. So we got 3 quotes, and we recommend to go with Englobe Corp, which was the lowest bidder for this proposal. So these are like the main quoted. So Deputy Mayor, if you would like to read it. 15.7. But you will read it in English.
Alors, la langue de votre choix, toujours.
Je recommence. Embauche de consultant, plan maître de transport.
So to hire like the consultant, bid result toward engineering of the transportation master plan to Englobe Corp for a value of $61,004.18, net HST included. Funds will come from account 1-23018 TP Services, Engineering Services. Moved by Sylvie Colette Boudreau and seconded by Councillor Paul Boudreau. Yeah, the Boudreau team again. Question, Councillor Paul Boudreau. Does it include active transportation? Yes. So sidewalk, trails, and so also a biking trails. So will there be a public consultation on this one? Thank you, Danny.
Conseil Boudreau va t'aimer. Oui, oui. c'est
Councilor
bon.
Boudreau will like you.
Non,
So,
sur ça.
on this note,
Travers, on dira oui.
all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Contre non.
Against nay.
Adopté.
Motion carried.
Et j'ai trois nominations au comité du.
So I have three appointments to Committee on Economic Development from our business people to this committee. Mr. Marc-André Arsenault, our cylinder heads, Mr. Marc Légère from Vienno Insurance. Yes, do not worry, Mr. Jean Marisol, one of the owners of Pizza Delight. And other citizens and council members. I would simply need a motion. I shall move. Be it resolved that Marc-André Arsenault, Luc Légère, and Johnny Mazerolle be appointed to the Economic Development, the Municipal Council of the Town of Shediac. I shall move, Mr. Mayor. Moved by Councillor Janice Cormier, seconded by Councillor Patricia Bourque-Chevary. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Against nay. Carried. Councillor Germain is moving the adjournment of the meeting.